So I tell people the things that you want to provide for any livestock that you have is you want to provide shelter, protection, pretty much one and the same thing, but I'll explain in a second, food, and access to clean water. If you provide any livestock on your farm those 4 things, you will be able to easily have a very, very successful herd of whatever livestock you wish to raise. Let's talk about shelter and protection. So as you can see behind me, I have reinforced the floor with various methods to be able to deter would-be predators to stay out of my area. I have reinforced it with chicken wire. I've used something called hardware cloth. I've made sure that we place rocks in particular areas. Anything that we happen to have around the farm, whether it be excess wood, to be able to cover up holes and to create deterrent for any type of varmint that wants to go ahead and try to come up to the bottom of the coop. Because what a chicken, or excuse me, what they will do, if I could show you, is they will actually take and try to dig up here against the bottom when they hit some sort of a wall, and then they will actually bury underneath it. So sometimes what I tell people is if they'll take a piece of chicken wire, stretch it about 6 to 8 inches here above where the wall is, bring it down, and then actually come out from the ground and create like an L with that piece of chicken wire or the hardware cloth. That is a really great way to be able to keep rodents from being able to dig into your chicken coop and either eat your chicken feed or hopefully they won't eat your chicken eggs. The other thing we like to do is we also try to provide avenues for the chickens to be able to escape if it's like a larger predator. The best part about it is everything's on a latch and everything is on a system to where we can keep it open during the day but close it at night. And this chicken door that I explained about earlier, it also does exactly the same thing. So this thing is fairly almost airtight, if you will, except for just allowing regular fresh air to come in and out during the evening, but it really does a fantastic job of being able to keep them animals protected. When it comes to food, I'll do a whole thing on food at another YouTube video, but we use fermented non-GMO and soy-free grains. That is really just one of their supplements to be able to get high-quality eggs. Excuse me, our chickens are allowed to literally go wherever they want to on our property. We allow them free access to all the carotenoids and all the xanthins that are inside of the actual ground that gives the yolk that wonderfully orange color. And so we just let them do what they need to do. Lastly, access to fresh water. A chicken needs fresh water, especially throughout all periods of the day. We don't want bacteria or mold or fungus, something like that, to build up in your water. So at the very least, we actually clean our waterers once per week. And then of course we'll touch up throughout the week with a toilet bowl brush that we actually have out here. We just mount a toilet bowl brush here on the wall, and we can actually use that to keep their waterers clean throughout the week as well. We'll talk about some of the additives that I like to add to the water and some of the other things that we do to make sure that we have a nice healthy poultry flock. Okay, so we have a series of 3 buckets that we use to ferment our grains, and it sits right next to, I'll just kind of go like this, it sits right next to our frost free right there. And what we do is we actually will use every 24 to 36 hours, we will just allow this to sit. So what we'll do is we'll start pouring the grain into the bucket, and then we will actually start letting the water go into it as well, and it just creates this nice consistency that we look for. And then after about 24 to 48 hours, it creates a cool little film on top of it, but then you've got fermented grains right there. So the field peas pick up all of the water, the corn actually rehydrates. It's pretty amazing. So, and you will actually see real bubbling happening right now as the fermentation, as you can see, is happening. So all those sugars are getting broken down, and it's actually just creating this really great digestible material for the chickens. Okay, so we talked waterers. This is a standard 5-gallon waterer that you literally can pick up at any feed supply store. There is no particular rhyme or reason to these other than this was one of those ones that comes slightly disassembled. Sometimes some models will actually have some feet on them to make them where, you know, they're not directly on the ground, which is something that you can consider. But what we will add to our waters at least once a week is we will add a mixture of essential oils to it. The ones that I like in particular for chicken health are rosemary. I like marjoram, the occasional oregano, and then I will even take whole cloves of garlic. So just a pulverized clove of garlic, maybe grab about 4 or 5 of those cloves for maybe one of these, you know, standard buckets, and then I will just do a quick crush on it. It's not like I'll chop it or mince it or anything like that. Now we'll just put it directly into this bucket to allow it to sort of permeate throughout the water, and it's a really, really great antibacterial that is all 100% natural. So people may understand, you know, the use of calcium in their chicken coops in order to create those nice, strong shells for the chicken eggs, but the grit is really helpful because chickens don't have the same ability to digest food that a lot of other animals have, and so they have to actually eat lots of minerals and a lot of indigestibles to help take that food, that grain that they eat, or some of the other things that they're able to scavenge for here on the farm, and be it sits inside of something called a crop, and then in that crop it has to be ground up using stuff like grit. And so make sure that you have grit around to be able to allow those chickens to swallow that. That way those rocks can pulverize all that feed. So we refer to this place as Cluckingham Palace. There's also another sign that I just need to fix the rope on it, but it simply says, you know, beware of foul language. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the inside of our coop. This is actually just a simple renovated barn stall that we have made a chicken coop out of. All right, so it's going to be a little bit dark in here, but this will give you an idea. So this area that I'm standing in is probably, I'd have to say maybe 15 by 8. Something along those measurements, maybe 16 by 8. What it is it is a, as you can see, it's a stall, right? It has a sister stall right here that we utilize for overflow, and then we come back over here. I have where it is extremely functional. This is an old chicken house nesting box that I obtained honestly via Craigslist, and these are perfect. They are already prefabricated. They've got these wonderful drop down bottoms that make it for really, really easy cleaning. That has a couple of different perches here for the girls to get in and out of, and as you can see, I mean, they have plenty of room. They're just the right size for your standard adult chicken. Now on the floor of my coop, because I wanted to make sure that pathogen loads can stay as low as possible, this is actually something called screening, which is also known as gravel dust. And what this is just simply concrete or gravel that is super fine smashed. And what it does is it actually allows liquid materials to soak through it normally, and it actually provides a nice hard floor for you to stand on. This is the bare bottom of my chicken coop. I will normally, after we just cleaned it, I will normally go ahead and take pine shavings and of course spread that and sprinkle that throughout the entire bottom to help create that barrier of being off of the floor as well. This is something that I totally recommend. This is the timer for my automatic chicken door. If you have a way of supplying power for it, this is a foolproof method for not worrying about having to come out and let your chickens out. It just attaches to the door. All you've got to simply do is just cut one hole inside of it, and this door right here will open and close based on a change in power where it trips momentarily. That's what will activate the motor that is inside of here. This will go down and it will cover it for the evening, and then it'll go ahead and come back up when you want it to as well. And I'll show you the front of it. And so that's it. That is how my chickens can get in and out without me having to come and actually physically let them out whatsoever. It's pretty awesome. All right, so along the front edge of our barn, where chickens surprisingly love to dust bath, if you just saw, that was actually one of our newest ones, dust bathing. So they learned this early. But what this is a powder form of oyster shells, pulverized oyster shells. What this is referred to as diatomaceous earth, or what you'll know as being DE. As well, if you actually do any type of backyard poultry chicken farming. But we like to sprinkle this into their dust baths because what this does is this helps decrease parasite loads, and it helps them be able to just maintain their health. You know, DE, if you get a food grade version of it, you can actually also allow the animals to ingest it. But really, just topical application is perfect because it wards off any would-be pests and parasites and annoyances that chickens might unfortunately deal with, whether it be mites or some of the biting flies. You know, some of the things that love livestock. Well, this does a really great job of being able to reduce the chances of them being afflicted with those wonderful flying animals. All right, so now it's chicken identification time. So this little gal right here is a Baird Rock. The chicken behind her, some would refer to as an Easter egger, but this is actually an Araucana or an Americana. This gal right here running away from us, who's all golden, commonly known as a golden beauty. Fancy name is a Buff Orpington. This chicken that I'm walking up to right now is actually this set of Rhode Island Reds are actually some of the older girls that we have, but what's awesome about them, they are still laying. This strapping fellow right here, if he will stay close enough to me, this is a Chanticleer rooster. He's one of the roosters on our farm. We only have a couple, and he is fantastic. This gentleman's name is McDreamy, and we are so happy with him. He is such a fine fellow to all of the ladies on the farm, and he is such a great protector, and they just absolutely adore him. See you, McDreamy. So this all black chicken that I'm coming up to right here, kind of in the middle, she's right there. That is called an Australorp. More technically, of course, a black Australorp. So here is the finished product that we're all looking for. Hopefully anywhere between about 4 to 6 months of making sure that we provide that shelter, protection, that food, and that water. We start getting ourselves backyard chicken eggs. And I tell you what, there are not very many eggs that I will ever eat again. All right, I think until the day that I die will I always have backyard chickens.